Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Slant.
Yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version.
Paulie, let's go.
That's better. Where'd I go?
Welcome, everybody, to the Latino Slant in our morning edition of our weekly breakdown of the television show Obi-Wan Kenobi. My name is Paulie, and we are talking about episode 4. Episode 4. So we're going to go non-spoilers and spoilers, and we're going to have a good conversation. So let's bring in filmmaker, actor, writer extraordinaire, Mr. Tom Konkle. Trouble is my business.
Trouble is my business. Yeah. It's good to be here. It's a pleasure, Paulie.
Yeah, and I got my computer.
Yeah. Right. It sounds great. You look great. It's good to see you back in the environment there.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Now, no problems? You set it up and there's no problems?
No. Yeah, we're good.
That's fantastic.
And it's a mini Mac, so it's the processor so small, but it's the M1 chip.
Yep.
It's sitting here on my table.
Moves fast. Yeah, it looks good. The stream looks pretty good. Yeah.
So if you're in the chat,
hey, Shooter,
share the link, Shooter. We're just getting here, just starting earlier time.
Perfect.
And yeah, man. So let's chat. Let's chat first impressions of this latest episode. Non-spoiler, your first impressions of this.
I was happy to see there was some action, that Kenobi had some agency in. You know, he was it's a breakout heist kind of thing, which is very A New Hope. I was very there was a couple of shots I loved. One that I didn't mention to you earlier was I love when they shut things down and the saber in the dark with that ring of red light coming up and him taking out the two guys. Moments like that are very cinematic, and I like that kind of thing. My overall impression was there was some connective tissue. There was some issues that I had that were exacerbated and kind of really indicated by the way it kind of ended for me. The conclusion of that particular segment or that scene was indicative of what I believe was a problem with that episode. But I want to hear your thoughts as well. My overall is, I have really liked the series so far. For me, this was a bit of a misstep.
So for you, this was your least favorite of the 4? Is that what you're saying?
For me, yes. I'm saying that being where we are in the story and what I saw, and I'll go through it with you to say why, because I wanted to like it. But maybe once I point these things out, you can, tell me your thoughts on it, or I might make you think about it. I don't know. I'm open-minded.
Sure. So my initial thoughts were I've seen it twice. And the first time I saw it in the middle of the night, so it was a little blurry.
That's when I saw it. Yeah,
and that's when we had talked earlier this morning, and I said, "Yeah, it's all right."
Yeah, you had the same reaction I did. Yeah.
Then I had some coffee and I saw it again to take notes, and I was like, "Man, this is good." In the sense of there's clear purpose in this episode, right? We'll get into spoilers in a minute. And Obi-Wan, Tarla, even Reva, all had very strong, um, what do you call it, objectives.
Right. Motivations. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So it really reminded me of New Hope. And so I in I in checking out social media, I just don't understand, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Yeah,
People throwing
I don't
just
understand the hate completely. And I will to dovetail just on this thought because I'll
yeah,
forget myself.
sure.
I do feel like it was like A New Hope, but I think it suffers. Unfortunately, any prequel has this. It's not really the show's fault. In A New Hope, we didn't know that the princess would be okay, that Leia would be okay, that she would be rescued without consequence. The problem I have, if I didn't think she would stay in the show, I didn't think she'd become like the baby Yoda, that she was the thing that he's always after. My problem with the show is I knew Leia was going to be okay. I knew she was going to be rescued. I've seen her get rescued from a Death Star like place before by somebody else, and so I felt like it was inert on that level. So unless you add some other shading where it's like someone's going to be changed forever by this, or some other character that I cared about that I don't know how they're going to have their outcome is going to be injured, hurt, changed, something has to happen to them,
Yeah.
and it didn't. And so I know
I
Obi-Wan
actually
and Leia were
disagree.
going to be
I
okay.
actually disagree with you.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
I'd love to
but
hear your
before I get into that disagreement, nuance observers here. Hello.
Hello.
Please, nuance shooter, everyone, share this link, hit the like. It'll help the algorithm, let people know we're here. Gonna have a great conversation that we are um, having. And I would say, I would say yes, right? It does. It
We know she's
adds
going to be okay. Yeah.
it asks a lot
Yeah. Yeah.
of Star Wars, of real Star Wars fans. I'd say with the new ones that haven't seen those movies, because there are people that have
Right.
not seen
Of
those
course.
films, it actually is great for them. Then they're going to go and watch A New Hope.
Right.
There's a new generation of kids um, and young teenagers watching these shows before any of these movies. Maybe they've seen the sequels, but so but but we're OGs, so I get it.
Yeah.
I would say the agency that has changed is Obi-Wan.
Hmm.
She's changed him, and it shows. It's very clear at the end of this episode is when they hold hands. I mean, that
Right.
was just like that was
I
everything.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, you're right. And for me, it very quickly went from him struggling to bring the object over to his hand to him being able to do the sounds that he did in A New Hope, where he's distracting or holding back, something.
Well,
We'll get to that later.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel like yes, he had to make a choice that he's going to come out of his shell and rescue her. What I meant, I guess, and I wasn't very clear, is I feel like this having been done so well in A New Hope with the fun factor, the danger factor, all the different storylines threading through as they're going through the Death Star to rescue the princess and her interaction with Han and Luke and everything. That's a tall order.
hmm
So this feels like a smaller, almost as good version, is what I was saying.
yeah, and you're right. There's never gonna be
Right.
that magic in a bottle.
Right.
I
And
think the
it's dangerous
magic,
to go back to that. Yeah.
right? I think the magic is Ewan and Anakin,
Yeah.
the actors, right?
Yeah.
And um,
I agree.
so, but you are right. And then some of the new characters, which I think Tarla to me, she could be in any of the Star Wars movies. I
Yeah.
mean, she's
She's
fantastic.
terrific. She's a great actress. I really like her performance. And she did the tension really well.
Yeah. Soul Assassin, a lot of hate for the shows comes from the changes to the lore of Kenobi that fans learned over the years.
That's
Right.
fair. Yeah.
And so, thanks. So that's the whole thing, that no matter who's writing this or who's directing it, the fact that you're venturing and daring to do something like this, you're gonna you're running up against a mountain
Yeah.
of lore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that too in the last show. If you
Mhm.
haven't seen the last one, I encourage you to look at Paulie's channel and see it.
Mhm.
Is that the longer lore and mythology goes, the more complex, more into the briar patch we go, the more inconsistencies. Because if you look at,
Mhm.
let's look at Homer, and writing a myth or the Bible or any of it. The more people have their hands on it, the more intricate it gets. The longer it lives with you, it starts to be influenced by each generation and changes. So the lore is going to change.
Yeah. So with that, no one is. I don't think any of us will be totally satisfied.
Yep.
So with that soul, I say that to Soul Assassin or to anyone uh, watching this right now. I don't watch these shows expecting to be for my lore or my headcanon to be satisfied.
Right.
It's just impossible.
It is impossible. You're right.
What I would like is to be entertained and for my heroes to still stay heroes at the end of the day.
Yep.
Which the failsafe is that we know what happens with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
How does he get from here to there? He's and I feel that this is a strong step on his way to becoming that resolute Obi-Wan again.
Yeah, a knight again. And the show is at its best, I agree with you, when it's a character study of how does this man go from being broken to the man that we know he can be, who ultimately sacrifices himself in A New Hope.
We got some more great people in the chat.
Hello,
Hey
Stephanie.
Steph, how are you? And I gotta catch up. I had a lot of family stuff happening this morning, so she was doing her morning review as well. So we'll check that out.
Great.
And then we'll get your info as well in the chat.
Thank you.
Trouble is
check
my
out.
biz.biz. Trouble
Yes.
is my
Trouble is my .biz.
yeah.
Yeah, please check out my film. It was my effort to try and tell a story as well. I learned so much making a feature. Ugh.
So people are coming in, which I really love and appreciate. All of you guys, thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. I'll put a poll up in a minute on what we thought of this latest episode. There was a news item that came up. Let me just throw this to you, and then we're gonna go into spoilers.
Okay.
It seems that the writer didn't know that Vader was Anakin and never watched Star Wars. Is that possible to hire someone in this day and age?
I would hope not. How did he get the gig? Which writer? Can Shooter?
Yeah.
Can you say what writer it was on that?
Shooter or someone can. I'm pretty sure Steph would have a beat on that. If anyone has a beat on that, let us know in the chat. Because that is
yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
I haven't heard of that, and that's like Ford proudly announcing, "Hey, we just hired a designer who doesn't know what a car is." It's sort of like, what? I know what Star Wars is. I could write something for you. Yeah.
Right. So how would that happen? Like, let's say you're going in for the writing job. Like, wouldn't they expect you to know more, to have a fresh take?
To have a fresh take, or at least to have a grounding in the knowledge that where this mentality could come from, and I've seen it in the commercial world. There was this whole movement where it was like, it's funny because it's not funny. It's funny because it's not, it's there's nothing there, nothing's happening. And you would have this whole movement where they're like, it's cool that I don't know anything. It's cool that I don't know anything about it. And it's like, oh, talk about a fresh start. But the problem with that is that means that person probably wasn't interested in that type of storytelling to begin with, which is why they missed it. So you're getting someone who's predisposed. If you and I did a musical, the last person we want to review it is the person who comes to the door and goes, "Oh my God, I hate musicals, but this is the musical they told me to review. So, okay." You don't want that person.
So it seems that Joby Harold, who is a screenwriter, is an English screenwriter from London, revealed.
That seems ignorant, but okay. Really? I hadn't heard that. I'm sorry.
What I'm seeing here from yesterday's Hollywood Reporter is that he was proud that they kept Leia a secret, a surprise for as long.
Didn't know.
Let me bring it up. let's just bring it
Sure,
up.
bring
Why
it
don't
up.
we do that?
This is a bomb.
Yeah, because this
Why
is,
would you be proud of that? And you're working on Star Wars.
and if that's the case, that is, not acceptable.
Yeah, not cool.
It's not let me see. Obi-Wan. Okay. Here we go.
Okay. This is the look how cool we are decision. Hey, we hired somebody that doesn't even like Star Wars.
After speaking, he's the head writer and executive producer.
Oh, you're kidding.
Is now relishing the opportunity to say one particular name, Leia. When part 1 and 2 series came out, viewers immediately compared the surprise involvement to the Mandalorian and Grogu. She's basically the Grogu of this. Okay.
Yes, she has become. I thought she would be a passing thing that was the thing that got him out of his thing. As you and I were celebrating that, it's like, oh, good, he's out of himself. I didn't necessarily think she would become the sole focus of the rescue, or that it would become a Grogu Mandalorian type relation. I had heard they were rewriting it because they thought it was too similar when Mandalorian was successful, but I think they kept some elements of that.
So yeah, he's in this paragraph here. He's just saying how it's kind of more, there gives more connection to the "Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope." Feels less arbitrary. I mean that's
fine. I have no problem with that. Does it specifically say I didn't know Anakin was Vader and I didn't know about Star Wars? Or is that something extrapolated?
I have not read this. I'm looking through it.
Yeah.
A New Hope precluded recent most class. There was no line in A New Hope that said we couldn't. There's nothing that felt like we violated at all. If anything, we've informed those scenes that some of those choices, if you take them for granted, in the original trilogy actually make more sense now. He's talking about Vader and Obi-Wan even fighting. So that makes sense. So
right.
far, he's making sense.
Okay.
And now this is an interview here.
I see one here on the wrap where it says Pablo Hidalgo was an invaluable source of knowledge for anyone working on the project. He's the official creative executive. His goal was to include a story point for McGregor's character, not realizing Vader was Anakin.
Well, in this story here, it also says that Harold has worked with Hayden Christensen before. He's a great actor. He's a good guy. I find this. It was Obi-Wan's vision of him as Anakin in Episode 3, and the whole crew couldn't believe it. I'll never forget it. So
I'd have to read a little more detail.
Yeah, maybe this is not the article in which he says that. How much of Vader Obi-Wan fight did you put on the page? So the page of choices. So he's just talking about choreography of the fight, character viewpoints, develops the actual fight sequence with Deborah Chow, and then on the day actor. So this is just kind of like obligatory, not obligatory, mechanical, the mechanics of putting the scene on.
Yeah.
What about fighting ways that exist? Slug.
That's interesting. I'll read more about that. I'd be very surprised that was the spearhead of the show was not someone who was really familiar with Revenge of the Sith. Because you and I even did a retrospective. This was to be a sequel in certain ways, don't you think? To Revenge of the Sith.
I'm sorry. I'm
Oh, okay. I was saying we did a little retrospective on Revenge of the Sith. You would think if you're charged with doing something essentially a sequel to Revenge of the Sith, you don't want to make the mistake that they made with Force Awakens, where Rian Johnson didn't know what was happening in Force Awakens and just wrote Last Jedi, divorced of any continuity or what was happening before. This seems like you're hiring another writer who's divorced from what happened before in Revenge of the Sith. It's the same mistake. You're making that Last Jedi mistake of hiring somebody that isn't seeped in knowing the character's motivations and what happened before. And I know that's in the name of fresh, but you don't want to sacrifice at the altar of fresh with the altar of ignorance.
Well, I've highlighted here that, and thank you for everyone for hanging out. Oh, this is bounding into comics.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think that's where this is coming from.
Okay, well, in this Hollywood Reporter here, which would piss off a lot of fans,
Yeah,
is that they're connecting Leia and naming Leia's son Ben. So they're connecting it to the prequels. And
right.
I know a lot of people were thinking that everything's going to be retcon,
Right, but now it's connected. Yeah.
Now it's connected. For better for worse, if you watch all the Star Wars stories right now, you'd be like, of course she's going to go to Obi-Wan. She also ends up naming her son Ben.
And it's dangerous to have Leia around Force users and even in the same building with Darth if he was not aware of her and any Force sensitivity or ability. They're riding that bleeding edge of having her in that mix again and being in jeopardy around Force users again. That's just narrative.
So right now, guys, we're taking a break from talking about episode 4 to...
Somebody dropped a bomb on us. Yeah.
Right. Do we want to bring in bounding for a second?
Well, look, you could. To me, that looks like that's where this is coming from.
Okay.
It's the source, I think, of this, because when you search, that's what comes up.
Yeah. No, listen, we're not.
So it says
one-sided here.
Oblivious of Revenge. That's what I said. Yeah, like you and I a couple of weeks ago did a retrospective, which you can check out here on Revenge of the Sith. It kind of demands a discipline from the writers that they understand where the story is when they pick it up. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and just like I was talking about Predator this morning in some of the inaccuracies, it doesn't take that much to do your research, to do your homework.
Watch the movie. Yeah.
Call up in this case, up in the Predator's case, call the Comanche Nation. There's actually an actual phone number, and have a conversation on their history.
I agree. It takes a moment to get it right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pop in I'm really proud of our Revenge of the Sith retrospective. So I'm gonna
that was fun. We enjoyed that movie.
I'm gonna put that in the chat as well. So
back to the episode. Yeah.
Speaking of the rap, Harold revealed that he originally didn't pitch Kenobi, not knowing that Darth Vader survived their battle. He said that was actually not something I pitched originally. That was something I discovered along the way, and sort of had to confirm with Pablo and really think, hold on a second, what does he actually know? Okay.
Yeah.
From there, Harold
he must have figured out quickly, because he's like, "You're only a master of evil, Darth," and he says, "When I left you, I was a pupil," and all the. I mean, they act like they know it in the movie in New Hope. Anyway, it seems like he knew that, because doesn't he say the man that was Anakin died from this thing? So it's sort of like, I guess he's finding out in this series.
From there, Harold listed off a string of questions, with one of them implying he and the team at Lucasfilm working on the show did not realize that Obi-Wan knows that Anakin is Darth Vader. He questioned, does he know the moniker Vader? What would that mean? Can he associate the two? What was he cognizant of? How isolated is he? Is Vader at the time? Where's Vader at the time? Where's his reputation, and how well known is he? And all those pieces of the puzzle. I gotta disagree with Bounding into Comics here. This is what writers ask.
Yeah.
This could be easily taken out of context. This is probably, they probably asked him, what was your process with the team? It's like, okay, well, we asked questions.
Right. We said, would he know? Would he know that he was one and the same? So if he went into hiding, he might not, is what they're saying.
However, anyone who's watched Revenge of the Sith should know that Kenobi does indeed know that Anakin is Darth Vader. After recalibrating the code, Jedi warned away. Yes, we know that scene. Lord Vader, go and bring peace to the Empire. Right.
So they did miss that.
Right, and that's after viewing the security footage, Obi-Wan's twisted by the dark side. Young Skywalker has become. The boy he trained is gone now. Gone he is, consumed by Darth Vader.
I do remember that.
Yep.
So that goes back to my original point. I feel like if the reason we did that Revenge of the Sith is this was to be a sequel of sorts to that timeline. So
yeah. Nevertheless, Harold would go on to explain why he wanted Kenobi to discover that Vader was still alive. Guys, you got to find it. Listen, if they're going to create this show, they got to find a way to make it work.
Right.
The great piece of storytelling you can use is getting Ewan to play the moment of realization that which haunts him is still alive. Right. Maybe we have to look at that episode 1 again of this. Is not so much that he didn't know that he was Vader, is that he thought he was dead.
He thought he killed him on the Mustafar. Yeah. When he left him, the Emperor had not come for him. Yeah. He left him to die.
Basically. Right, and so he basically went, and Padme had the kids. They took off, and what does this mean for him? There were many avenues that I could take him down, all of which hopefully are good opportunities to tease out story as we continue. But it all comes down to this. Is it viable within canon to play that card? Which it was. Okay, well, there you go, guys.
There you go. So valid points on all sides. A writer is doing inquiry, but he's doing inquiry in a certain way because he didn't do some homework in the film proper, which you and I consider this to be a sequel to. So this is gray.
Well, this is an opinion by Bound in the Comics. Like they're taking this information and say even the suggestion that Kenobi didn't know Vader was alive is wrong. Kenobi didn't know Vader was alive. In Return of the Jedi, Kenobi makes abundantly clear to Luke that he knew Vader was alive, and Luke questioned him about the other that Yoda spoke of.
Which is Leia.
Speaks of another. No. Yeah, but within that canon, within that time, you can still, what they did is, so, yeah, I mean, all right, so we're going with this. This is canon, right? He didn't know he was alive. Now in this series, he knows Vader is alive, and he's reconnected to the Force. So
or
by
rather,
the time
Anakin's still alive. Yeah.
By the time New Hope and Return of the Jedi is around, he knows that Vader's alive.
Right, because he says a young pupil, Darth Vader, seduced and destroyed your father. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
thank you, nuanced. By the way, I'm glad you liked it. He just said a well said.
Yeah, I mean, is in the wrap, was it a gotcha moment where hey, you didn't know anything about Star Wars? I don't
know. I think people have left it to interpretation. What he's saying, as you said, is writer's inquiry, but some people are feeling, and probably rightly, that because of the lines we actually just cited from Revenge of the Sith, where he's like, look, Vader and did that, and Yoda says that the ambiguity that he wanted to be there to play that emotional moment, which made it more satisfying in the series, may not have been earned because some information was there. So to me, it's muddy. It's muddy.
Okay,
and
so
it goes back to your original point. The more lore is there, the more it's going to contradict and be a problem.
Which Lucas did in every one of his original films.
Yeah, originally she wasn't his sister. Yeah.
And Luke knows Ben when he was a kid, like
old Ben Kenobi, the guy, the wizard up in the mountains. Yeah.
And then when I just saw the scene this morning, Luke was like, Ben, it's like, I'm glad to see you. Do you know who an Obi-Wan is?
Yep.
Right. And he says, I haven't gone by that name since before you were born.
Yeah. He knows That's not true. He did go by that name after he was born because he's spying on him.
Right, right. And people did call him Obi-Wan. Some people called him Ben. But it's like,
The show's called Obi-Wan. Yeah, yeah.
what are you going to do, man?
Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, tell me more what you really were vibing on this.
I'll say that again.
Tell me what was really resonating with you, what you were vibing on in the story, this episode.
Oh, yeah. Let me just read these comments from people. Oh. And then we'll get back. Then we're going to get into it. Steph says he left Anakin to die in Mustafar. He didn't know. Joe, that's what I thought. He left Anakin for dead. No, they should never have brought Vader into the show to start off with. I mean, you're just good. Oh, Troy's here. What's up? So he thinks there's another Darth Vader?
Oh, he thinks that Darth Vader is someone different than Anakin, is what Troy, I think, is saying. He's like, oh, there's this bad guy Vader who's a Lord of the Sith who rose, but I didn't put two and two together that it's Anakin. Is that what you mean, Troy?
What I got in episode 1 was Kenobi being told that Anakin is alive. He knows that Anakin is Vader, but he thought that he died on Mustafar. Kenobi knew Anakin was Vader, but thought he did die on Mustafar. Later learned Vader survived from an Imperial report on Tatooine. Where is that? And if that's EU, so
they threw all that out anyway.
Yeah, they threw all that out. I'm kind of being sarcastic. What's up, Charlie?
I love Troy.
What's up, Charlie? Good to see you. Oh, here we go. It isn't part of canon anymore. Yeah, and that's the problem. Is that when KK threw it out 10 years ago, now they're trying to pick and choose from the EU what they're bringing back.
Right.
And people have a lot of problems with that. And I totally get it. If I was a huge EU fan, I wouldn't be watching any of this.
You'd be confused, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, in the 3 books I read on the Thrawn trilogy, to me, those should have been the sequels.
Terrific writing.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. It's from the book, which is I heard the book is amazing. So I heard the book is amazing.
Yeah.
And thanks, Niles Solanke for subscribing. Cool. All right, guys. We are now going to go into spoiler mode. And like I said, for me, upon my second viewing of episode 4, I had a great time. It was objectives were clear. This with each scene, I saw Kenobi be more resolute, being more confident, especially from the first scene of this episode to the last scene. He's practically a changed man, and I the stakes were high. You're
right. That is the crux of this series, as you say. He is going from the broken man who says we lost to finding a reason to be a Jedi again, to reason to be a hero again, and not be broken. And the show is at its strongest when it's about that.
Yeah. So episode 4 opens up with Obi in a Bacta tank. Was it Bacta tank?
Bacta tank. And I do have one question. In the previous episode 3, Reva says shut down all the spaceports. Don't let anybody out of here. But the show begins with Tala and Kenobi on a ship. Why did they not show how they got off the planet, or how
they already took off?
Okay. So they had already taken off when they said shut everything down and nobody pursued them. So, okay. Got it.
Whether it was like one scene before or one scene after, I assume that Tarla and the droid
right.
had Kenobi and were ready on a ship somewhere.
I just wanted to double check because Reva had killed their pilot, so I was confused.
But remember, she didn't go and wait the one we didn't. She wasn't in front of the ship killing the pilot. She was in the tunnel,
The tunnel. So
and
the
she
pilot.
didn't. Right, and she went after Leia. So she was probably distracted with running after Leia, and then
Right.
they were able to
They
slip
took
off.
off, and she didn't initiate any kind of pursuit. They
Right,
arrived at is it
Jabim.
Jabim? Okay.
And I have to say, this is a wonderful shot. The sequence of him looking up.
I like when he's on the he's got the burns and they're kind of escorting him through and people are peering in on him and it feels almost like
Yeah,
war footage.
that's a
Yeah,
great shot.
yeah,
That's a
yeah. That's
great
kind of
shot.
dreamy and eerie.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Now you're saying you had some problems with the cinematography. You
I
thought it was
do.
like,
I do. For me, sometimes it's brilliant. Sometimes it looks great. Other times
mhm,
I'm confused because if you look at Andor, that film,
mhm,
the or that trailer that we just saw, it looks
mm,
very cinematic and filmic. Sometimes I will
mhm,
argue in this, they use so much handheld to get through shots and get through
mm,
things, and without reverses and the lighting, I
mhm,
feel like it feels a little video-y and not like a very big budget. It doesn't feel like Rogue
mhm,
One,
mhm,
which they certainly had the money to do. Now, there's some shots in there that we can talk about later. I told you before we went on here, I love what
mhm,
they did with some light and things like that. But the light isn't always interesting the way it is in the films. And for me, there is a cinematography problem sometimes that they don't do, more lockdown shot selection, things like that. They seem to handhold it. And sometimes it's appropriate if you're sneaking or it's a very intimate scene, but sometimes it can be clunky in an action scene or a battle scene to just handhold through it from one point of view. That was my only thing is it can't be cinematic enough in these other places if it's flat or they overlight the background or things like that. So yes,
mhm.
there's some beautiful shots, but to your point, my problem with the cinematography is for me compared to like Greg Fraser, the guy who shot Dune and I forget what else, but he shot some of Mandalorian, and it
Mhm.
looked like side
Mm,
by side. It looked like a big IMAX anamorphic show. This
mhm,
does not
mhm.
always look like that
Okay, so Ben is in the tank, getting healed
from his wounds.
from his wounds. Anakin is in his tank,
Yeah, they're cross cutting between. Yeah,
and what I got was both of them were bonded by their torture. They were both getting like those flashbacks of torture. We saw their meeting from episode 3. We saw those little flashbacks. I thought that was wonderful.
yes, I thought so too. I wish he'd stayed in the back to tank a little longer, or that the wounds not being completely healed paid off in another way. I felt like they
Mm.
forgot that he was hurt for the rest
Uh,
of the adventure.
Honestly, I think they got the note. No more bad.
I think you're right. They're like, look, with Bobo, we did a lot of back to.
Yeah,
He's in there, and like a minute
get him
later, he
out.
pops out.
Get him the fuck
And
out.
and I would have added something where at least you play some pain or there's a burn or something that he rushed it. The same way Luke
Mm,
rushed to go rescue them in the Cloud City. Obi-Wan is rushing to go help Leia, who's caught in a evil Imperial fortress. You should have had the fact that he's wounded be some factor, or if you're going to go to the trouble of we're going to heal you in the back to tank, have it resonate symbolically about him. And they don't mention it again after the back to tank.
Now I know you guys have questions. If you can uh, copy them and put them in the chat later on, we want to get through our spoiler analysis of this show, and we have limited time with Mr. Konkle, so we
Okay.
appreciate it, and we also appreciate any super chats. We love those. We are not afraid to say we are a capitalist channel. A few dollars here and there don't hurt.
Don't hurt.
Okay, so then we get that there is one of many interrogation scenes between Leia and and Reva in the scene, she says that Obi-Wan is dead. What was your feeling overall with I count about 3 or 4 interrogation scenes where Reva was trying different emotional tactics with
Yeah,
Leia.
yeah.
What was your take on that?
My take was, we already have established she has the ability to kind of suck information out of people. We saw that in the Tatooine interrogations and stuff. She has the ability to do that. She didn't go there. I don't know if it's right away because
Mm-hmm.
she sensed that there was a lot of resistance from Leia. She tried some great emotional manipulation tactics, like, "Look, I'm on your side. We can do this together," or consequences that when implemented on a child, she's older than her years, but a 10-year-old, I mean, that's pretty sinister. So I thought that progression was good. I thought she menaced her pretty well. She seemed to be a little blasé that she could resist a mind probe that a grown up, couldn't resist, which I went, interesting. And then she ends up using a mechanical apparatus to further brutalize her to get information. But I felt like it played pretty well considering it's a kid. You're grilling a kid and you're using interrogation manipulation stuff. I didn't have a problem with it. I just, in the back of my mind, I did go, you've gifted the character with a very problematic thing, which is she did that before and extracted information instantly, but it didn't work this time. And she seems nonplussed. She's like, you're very resistant. Like, almost like you're, powerful,
You're force
yeah,
sensitive,
like
which
force
would have been a
sensitive,
whole nother thing.
but it never comes up.
Well,
So
they can't say that because then that would break canon,
yeah, again, that's the
right?
problem. You can't break canon. You're right. You're right.
I have to tell you guys, I did have problems story wise with these scenes. I think these scenes should have just been one scene.
Mm-hmm. One intense thing. Yeah.
Like she tries different tactics. Because I think once she tried to do that mind thing, that should have been game over.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I'd be like, wait
if
a minute.
Leia is that special, which she is, Reva would have found out. That's their
That's right.
job, is to find force sensitive kids.
And Vader's in the building, isn't he? I mean, he's
No, not
literally
yet. No,
okay. Okay.
no. He's not.
Right.
He's in the planet over.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
he's
this
gonna
is a
come over.
moon. This is
Yeah.
a moon in the Mustafar system.
Got it.
Um,
That's right. It's in the system. It's not Mustafar.
no, it's not Mustafar. Very close though.
No,
But
I have a question for you that I didn't
mhm,
understand. It was one point, and maybe I missed it. But
mhm.
when they go to find this place, like the Kenobi goes, I need help. How do the Resistance know that Leia was taken there of all the places they could be taken? I didn't see any evidence, any investigation, any person that had special knowledge. How do they know that Leia went there? And why is the argument, well, nobody thought that they would defend it, so it has no defenses? I don't understand the logic. Did I miss something? How do
Um.
they know she's there?
Yeah. Yeah. These are good questions.
To me, I was like, no, that guy who goes, yeah, I know what the Empire can do. I lost my wife to her, or whatever. That guy has no special knowledge of the end destination of a ship. No one says, oh, take her to this place, and you see someone around a corner hearing it and go, I need to go back and tell the Resistance or tell the Way. It just is like, oh yeah, she's here. She's in this building. And by the way, it has no defenses because they don't think anybody would ever attack it. And it's like, how do they know she's there?
Okay, so what I'm getting at is that maybe Tarla, because of her Imperial
Uh-huh.
connections, had that information,
I wish they'd had her say that. Yeah.
or yeah, I'm afraid of playing this scene because I don't want to get
You don't want to get the strike. Yeah.
I don't want to get us taken down during this good conversation, but it didn't take me out. Like until you just mentioned that, it didn't take me out. It to me, um, it, I don't have an answer. I can't give you an answer unless I go and watch it again. You know, And did they have prior knowledge? I think they might have prior knowledge of this fortress. That's all I'm saying.
I know, but even if they knew the fortress, how did they know in all of the galaxy
Because
that
Reva took Leia.
right? But how do they know where she took her? Why not take her to Mustafar? Why not take her to a close
They're
by?
probably going. They're probably going with the odds there. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, to be honest, it was the first time in the Kenobi series, which I have enjoyed. It's the first time I went, wait, how does he know they're there?
Well, we got some answers here. Imperial officer may have access to files.
Maybe.
Inquisitor base is the same. If in Fallen Order game, it's possible that the main characters from the game gave info out to the rebels. That's what I'm thinking. That this new form of rebels with Ice Cube's son.
But in the show, we need to know that you can't. A show should not ask you to extrapolate from a video game.
Well, maybe we missed the line. Look, listen. We both saw it in the middle of the night.
I would love to be wrong, but that was one of 3 times in the show that I went,
okay,
how do they know that?
And so we're giving a fair analysis here, guys. You know, we're not like, oh, we love everything. It seems that we both had some issues with the storytelling, different issues in the storytelling.
Right.
I didn't have an issue with that. I had an issue with the
Inquisitor.
With the Inquisitor, with the interrogation and Leia. It's a little too close to, like, you know. I also thought the tactics, you know, you just do that in one interrogation.
Yeah.
It's like it was just.
It could have been done in one thing. Like I say, she uses so many different, like, oh, I'm on your side, you're doing this and that. It's sort of like, you're right. If one intense one, and then you're like, take her away, put her in the machine, she'll talk. That's all you need. But actually going to the point where she tries and goes, wow, you're resistant. But that means nothing to me. Go ahead and put this. You know, I was like, that's kind of big.
I think I'll look back in the series and to see if it was like what was mentioned, because you brought it up. But I think you were half asleep, so you know.
Well, most of my life I'm half asleep.
I'm just joking.
No. I hate to be negative. I hate to point these things out, but I would be remiss as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, to go, yeah, that's strange, because everything in Star Wars that when it works is airtight. You know, it's like, this happens, which leads to this, which leads to this. Show me, don't tell me. Don't leave something to supposition, because really good writing doesn't go, don't worry, the audience will get it, or they'll figure it out. You don't do that.
So yeah, people are bringing up some great stuff in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I will look back to see about that. It didn't take me out. What I saw was, hey, we have a map again, and we're gonna map out the heist. Right.
But see, the map in New Hope came through reasons that we understood, and we knew how they knew that's what they needed to do. In this, it was like, she's gone, could be a million places. I'm going to ask the first person. He says, no, I'm not going to help you. Then you go, well, you know, I need your help. Okay, well, she's here. And you're like, what? How do you know that? Yeah.
Well, a lot of the criticism is that there's big plot holes in this.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're that big. And Shooter says they did mention how Paul. I'm watching it, and they did. I'm watching it, and they never said anything. The only thing they mentioned was when they were going in there, and Ben says that your cover's still intact, and she turns. Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
One thing I thought that was interesting is the first time that we heard, or maybe, I don't know, it sounded, you know, as far as when O'Shea as a character called Obi-Wan General. It took me back. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I did too. That
was pretty cool. Okay, so they have a map, and they figure it out. And you know, under Tom's protest, I was going to say, you're not being negative. You have your constructive critiques. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, this is a nice scene where he's trying to work out the Force by moving an item, and he's still having struggles.
He's still having trouble. He's going to need an emotional crisis or a real crisis to force him to release the power that he has inside of him, which
And
is good.
I can't understate how I just really love Tarla. I love what's her name? Varma.
Yeah, Varma. She's terrific. She's a great actress. She has so much integrity, and she's making interesting choices. And I think she's a great actress. She's doing a really good job. Yes.
So here she just says, she's got incredible lines. She's got incredible. God, you almost wish that it was just, you take out more of the characters and just have the characters that work for you.
Yeah.
I just kept writing that she's a great character. And he's still having trouble with the Force. He's not at full strength. And she says, you're going to have to let go of the past to heal properly. And she's also talking about your physical healing because you're not physically healed from your burns.
Right.
And yet you're going off to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very sage line, and it's something that Obi-Wan needed to hear. And coming from her, it was great. And again, it shows the kind of, she's on that bleeding edge, that razor's edge of being a turncoat, a spy, and needing to appear as an Imperial officer, but by the same token, having these deeply held beliefs and being part of the rebellion. So yeah, I think she's a great.
I think, like I said earlier, I feel that she could be in any Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I agree with you.
With her elegance, her depth, her take on the character, and I'll get to it. There's one moment I thought she was just fantastic.
Yeah,
just fantastic.
Great.
And we got our first super chat. Hey, just some other guy for $9.99. Thank you so much. Good to see you, gentlemen. Nowadays, I judge Star Wars the same as I would an old track star competing while riddled with cancer. Oh my God. Until the tumor, KK, is out. Its performance is greatly handicapped. Wow.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Ah, that deserves a video, my friend. Woof. Well, hopefully, this will help us run better with riddled cancer. Where's our uncle at? Where's he at? I'm trying to find him. There we go.
I love that clip.
Thank you so much. And yes, Indra Varma.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Been dazzling us for decades. Okay, so in this scene, this next Inquisitor scene, because she had in the scene before said that Obi-Wan is dead, Leia's like, how did he die?
Yeah. Almost probing her, and it's like, give me details if this is true.
Yeah. It's showing her strength and her, which is, what Leia's all about.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So now they land here, and I thought
that showed a good busyness there. Again, my only problem, is they did say it's completely undefended because we don't think anyone will attack, which I think is weird. And then they do show all these ships, all these pursuit ships, and all these craft in it, and I don't feel like that got paid off quite the same. But I do agree with you. That's a great tracking shot through there, and it looks really good. And this is probably one of my favorite scenes, the tense little scene where she gets stopped and turns on him.
So yeah, the arrival, the setup, Tarla gets in. She is a commanding officer, and I love this moment and wish we had more of this from our other Star Wars actors, where she walks off and she closes her eyes like she's like, fuck, I made it.
I can't believe I did it.
That got dark real quick. Yeah. Okay, so
the idea is that they sneak in. She goes in with her credentials, her Imperial credentials, and there's apparently some kind of plan to smuggle Kenobi in separately.
Well, I guess Kenobi got dropped off in the ocean because he's swimming.
Yeah, and I don't know how they track him. How does she see him in that dark ocean? How does she go? Yeah, see that thing ahead of you? Yeah, I see it. I was like, how are you seeing Kenobi?
Well, he's got the device on right here. Maybe
I know, but how does she see him? That's his breathing device. But I don't know how she's tracking where he's going, and I don't know. I was a little confused by that because I was like, okay, so he dropped in the ocean. She went in the front way, but then she has a line later where she goes, "See that door right there? Yeah, go on in that." And I was like, "Where's the cat? Where? How is she seeing him?"
Here, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
And
we should mention
it was street cleaning day, so Romy's moving my car.
Oh, okay.
One of those mornings.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say we should mention too that there was a character Sully and another character that they agreed to take them to this base to take Kenobi and Tala there. He said maybe we can attack using T-47 speeders or something.
Right.
And then Sully says no. We're hauling sewage or whatever, and they suggest infiltrating. So they're going to recover Leia by her going in that way, and he's apparently swimming. We missed the part where he jumps off and swim. It could have been exciting. And the only weird plot device that, again, took me out was she goes, "There's a door ahead of you. Go ahead and go in the door." And I'm like, how is she sitting at an Imperial thing next to somebody, seeing Kenobi, and that person sitting next to her doesn't see him? I got confused because she's in a room full of other Imperial officers talking to Kenobi openly. Okay, Ben, go in that door. And he's sitting next to her, and there's other people standing around, and they all missed it. I was like, how is she seeing him? Is he up on a screen? I just was confusing.
Yeah, I have no answer for that. Other than I thought
what were you thinking, Paulie?
You know what? I was enjoying seeing Obi-Wan swimming.
I understand.
It reminded me of the Phantom Menace, and when her, yeah. I mean, I could go through all those other movies, and there's little shit like that.
Well, I know. I'm only pointing out ones where I literally went, "Hey, wait, what?" And that just happened to be one because she's sitting at a desk next to five officers, going, "Ben, yeah, see the door there? Go on in." And I'm like, so is he's on a screen, and they're all kind of looking over, or I just was confused by that.
Okay, well, he gets in. And
and this is the other one that drove me crazy. He has a chance to take an Imperial stormtrooper's armor, but he leaves him and walks openly down the corridor where he knows cameras can see him because she goes, "Oh, I see a probe door coming," so they could see him. Why doesn't he go into a disguise in the armor?
Oh, and then how does someone else not notice?
See this robed man going through where there's only armored people in a completely black corridor.
Well, we're here giving you guys real fair analysis.
Yeah. I just feel like I wanted him to steal the armor and at least blend in because it made his job so much harder to remain in the robes.
I gotta say, it's funny what bugs us and what didn't, because I didn't even think about that until you just brought it up.
Yeah, I was like, grab the armor, what are you doing? Yeah.
I'm so used to Obi-Wan like hanging out the Death Star, lurking like
But that only goes so far. See, he was in the Death Star, but he had the distraction of Han, Leia, and Luke. His one mission was to silence the shields, to lower the shields in the Death Star, and he got caught. I mean, Vader walks out and finds him easily. This, if you're going to start by going, I see a probe droid coming around, well, now the implication is Tala sees him on a monitor. He could be seen in the corridor. So of all the hundreds of people standing there looking at the monitor, no one sees him in gray robes walking down the middle of the corridor is a weird choice when you gave him armor to steal. In a secret room, he could have grabbed that guy, put him out, and the next thing we see is the helmet going on to Kenobi, and he's trying to act like a stormtrooper going through. Now, I know they're worried that seems like A New Hope, right?
Okay, real fast, guys, as Tom is tearing apart episode 4.
Sorry.
Please share the link. We're still here for a little while. Hit the like. This is a good conversation. This is
Yeah.
a good conversation.
If I were directing it,
And
I'm
real
just
fast,
saying.
real fast. Everyone's comments in the chat is kicking ass. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. And again, it's because I love
Except for
Star
Tom.
Wars. Yeah.
Except for Tom. Tom the Midnight's Edge.
Oh, is he in here?
I don't appreciate this, sir.
Hello, Tom. Hello, everybody. Hello, Tree Rock.
He just cuts to
he cuts right to the chase. He's
and a lot of people feel the same way. I totally get it.
And you know what? I was with you on the first 3 episodes. I was like, okay, I'm rolling with that. But the armor and walking out like that's just bad military tactics. He's a general.
Oh, no. This is too much. This is too much, Tom.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you're going to have to take it back. That's not nice. Jerk. Look at nice. Now everyone's like, all right, everyone's turning on me. Yeah. Anyways, okay.
Explain everything in the story. That Tree Rock said that really well. The reason Empire Strikes Back is the vagaries are calculated and most things are explained. Yeah. And to again, wanted to love it, but I feel like they avoided him putting the Stormtrooper armor on only because they're like, well, that's like Han and Luke getting in the Stormtrooper armor. The reason they got in the Stormtrooper armor is so they could blend into this giant military complex or they'd stick out. So not having him put the armor on makes him stick out. He should have been caught the minute he walked out the door.
Well, and then, we're jumping ahead, but at the end, how does he get Leia out? He dresses up in a robe.
I know. It's like, who? But it had to be Tala to tell him to do it. He didn't have the idea himself.
Yeah. You might be onto something, man.
There might be something there.
You know, I'm having a good time with it. I
am too.
I'm actually thinking that these scenes, I'm glad I'm seeing him and he's not in a Stormtroopers because I'm seeing his confidence as Obi-Wan again, and he's
that's
taking
great.
down fools and it seems with each scene he's becoming more resolute. Now there's a staring contest, and Reva's like, you're brave, but the more brave you are, the more afraid you are.
Yeah, I'm using my technique that normally sucks ideas out of someone's head, but it doesn't work with you. But that doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah.
Then she gives a line about, she grabs the little droid, and she's like, I used to have a droid. It was taken away from me like everything else was. Ooh. Some more insight to Reva. Do we care at this point about Reva?
It better go somewhere. I really thought Reva was obsessed with Kenobi and wouldn't let him go, and that was going to be the arc. Now her focus is on Leia, which I think is her way to get to Kenobi. But we got 2 left, and if we're going to see a change in her or a conflict in her, or Vader's going to dispatch her, or she's going to turn to the other side, you've got 2 hours to do that. So
it can be done.
It can be done, but we got to get moving on that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you guys in the chat. Please share and like our stream. We are getting through it, guys. We're doing the Lord's work here.
Anyway, thank you for letting me talk about the armor thing because it drove me bananas. Yeah.
No, that's all right. I didn't even notice.
Yes, he had robes when he went out onto the Death Star, but they had the distraction of the Millennium Falcon and all the other people, and the place was on lockdown. And he did the same thing where he made a sound down the corridor and whatever. But the distance by which he had to travel to do he was isolated when he turned off the shield generator. Lucas purposely put him in a giant column. Anyway. So you couldn't see him. Driving me crazy.
I see that.
Yeah. It's because I love Star Wars so much. I have to point it out.
Okay. All right. Hey, much love to you, Tom. Much love to you. I see. I see. I'm having to exercise my patience today. So. Now, I liked the throwback to the use of the telecom between Tala and Obi-Wan as he's walking around, like you said, without a stormtrooper thing. I thought that was a cool throwback to.
Yes. I love the idea. I just wouldn't have staged it at a counter next to two other Imperials that could hear it. I'd have had her
Yeah,
go in a corner. Go in a
and
corner and do it.
what she's talking about is, or like the office should have been empty.
Yeah.
Correct.
And when she kills that guy, she kills him in front of all the other people and puts him behind those little counters back there, and nobody notices.
Yeah. I did not like the death of it. I thought that was kind of weak.
He's unless everyone got up and went to lunch. There
Yeah.
are people. See that guy right there? He didn't notice she killed the guy behind him.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the way
Soul
to
Assassin wants me to do a New Hope retrospective with it. I think you and I should.
I'm like, I'm ready to turn this off. Tom. I love how Ice Cube Jr. was all, F you, leave, I'll help you. That was a quick turn. It was
a quick turn, and he knew where they were.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy. I demand a New Hope retrospective stream, Mr. Konkle. You know what?
We might do that. Maybe you and I
might do that. We
That'd
might
be
do
fun,
that.
actually.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a real good idea. It's so good. That idea. Okay, let me get to my notes. Where the hell am I?
You've lost your complete. I can feel it draining out of you.
I know, man. I'm just like, okay, is this shit over with? I got Tom.
We didn't make this thing.
I'm dealing with Tom Konkle, and then I'm dealing with Tom in the fucking.
Yeah, Tom in the room is a little harsher, I would say. A little harsher.
He does the sound thing.
Yeah.
To distract the stormtroopers. I thought that was wonderful. I thought that was so cool.
I did too. I thought it was a nice callback. And again, I love the comm thing. I just simply would have staged it in a private place the way they did in A New Hope, where they were in an isolated room with the door closed.
So on the way they discover there's a room where they're keeping stuff, and Obi-Wan discovers that it's a tomb of Jedis that they have collected over the last 10 years. And I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was really chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Really creepy. Yeah. Interesting idea. I hope they kind of pay it off. It's a cool idea, don't you think?
Well, yeah, it makes sense because that's what these guys have been doing for the last 10 years, and like they're like trophy items.
Yeah, collecting trophies, a very grotesque trophy room.
And then maybe they're going to use their DNA to do the clones. Yeah, there you go.
Which, creating more Inquisitors or more Sith.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool idea. I agree.
So, obviously, Kenobi, so it's a bad discovery. Now, he needs a distraction. That was a good one too.
That was creepy. Yeah,
that was creepy. He needs Tala to distract so he can get in there. And basically, Tala gives herself up.
Yeah, she plays the bleeding edge and does the triple thing where it's like, yeah, I'm a spy, but this reason for a spy and this and this. So she's got to distract her. So she literally interrupts Leia being interrogated, and they say this can't wait. And Reva's like, okay, I'm going to go. And then she goes to meet with Tala, who's posing as an Imperial.
And we got a PayPal of $5 from Troy. You should have your PayPal link in the description of every video. Thank you. And you're right. Let me get that up. Thank you for that, man. I'll put it here. And then I will I appreciate that. Appreciate everyone being here. And then we didn't do the poll. I am
We got to do the poll.
thrown off today, but that's okay. That's all right.
I got thrown off the minute someone said the writer hadn't seen, part of
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like these guys can't catch a break, man. When I say these guys, like the actual stories and
Yeah.
it's like there's been so much distraction with these shows that are just
They're
it's
either,
bonkers. It's bonkers in this,
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, she talks about being a spy for the last 2 years. I really like this scene. Again, she's not buying it. Reva's not buying it, but your favorite scene.
I love that. That was a good use of light and shadow.
We're gonna play this.
Yeah. Yeah. And very graphic, very, stark. And I like that use of light.
I also got the kind of like that circular image from inside the Death Star.
Yes.
Where Vader is after fighting Luke.
Yep. I agree with you. They did a call to that type of design. Nice. And see that, yeah, I like coming out of it with the red light and the saber taking him out. He felt powerful. His agency. This is the old Kenobi.
But you're saying maybe it's just not enough for this episode.
I'm saying if everything had this kind of attention to detail and style as far as a shooting thing and a mood and created a real cinematic feeling in every shot, that I wasn't just being covered, it's like, oh, let's go handheld and just get this. There's some of that. I feel like this felt designed, didn't you? It felt like it was really put together. It built tension. It had emotion. You can't have clunky action scenes in a Star Wars movie. That's the gold standard of action.
Yeah. Okay, so Kenobi saves Leia.
Can I get you a coffee or something?
I'm just trying to get to the end of this episode, man. Between you and the chat,
I see. I'm trying not to be negative. I'm trying not to.
The alarm goes off. There's a daring fight. There's an escape. I really like this action sequence. I think it really,
It's the best one in it. Yeah.
To the end of this episode, it's just like there's like pop, pop, pop stuff happening, and
Reva talking to Tala about the path and having spies embedded in the Empire is a very important scene. Yeah.
So here we get we're finally getting really, as far as the Force vintage Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
What he's manipulating multiple things at once, which was always, in his
prime.
Classic.
Yeah, space opera tension, the thriller, that Star Wars was based on, these kind of dangerous last minute escapes and things. And, in fact, he didn't have a suit. Stormtrooper suit has bit him in the butt, and now he's been caught in the corridor. He's got to cover up the glass and get them in there. And I thought that was one of the better put together scenes of him having the last second holding that back and them trying to get through the door to get to him. And then Tala just walks up behind him. Tala gets there before Reva does.
What did you think of the chemistry between the connection between I know you didn't expect it, but now it's so prominent between Leia and Kenobi?
I thought that was sweet. Again, I think at its core, had I not seen Mandalorian with Grogu, I'd say it was even more innovative to show the young and the older and the bonding of a warrior and with his innocent charge. She's different. She can talk. She's feistier. So I don't really mind it. I just don't want it to be the complete focus of the show. I really wanted it to be an adjunct to the show, but it's really the focus of the show. And I think you're right. That bonding that they have has ended up being the emotional touchstone of the show. So I will embrace that.
Yeah, man. Mandalorian's really messed things up for canon characters.
Yeah. Well, you just can't have small innocents being rescued by warriors in every single Star Wars. You're going to have to go somewhere else with it.
Which they didn't do in Book of Boba Fett.
Correct, and we pointed that out in our thing about it.
But I just feel that, like, you again, you can't make every Star Wars fan happy. It's just impossible now.
No, just enough. You have to make it.
The things you're unhappy about in this episode, I could care less. I had a great. I see your opinion, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. But while I was watching it, it didn't dawn on me. I was just enjoying the ride.
And believe me, I wanted to enjoy it. I'm not showing how clever I am or how this or whatever by pointing it out. It was an honest reaction that I took me out of it for that moment. And
this is a good job.
Yeah, it was just a progression, and I would be dishonest to not say something.
Just some other guy for $4.99. Thank you so much. The Inquisitors keep the corpses of Force sensitives as bait. Oh man, that's awesome. Nasty.
Yeah,
to lure other Force sensitives. They did it in Rebels in Luminara Unduli.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's a great point.
This video is for you and for Troy Pacelli. Thank you for the super chats, PayPal, and YouTube. All of it means so much. Here you go. Okay, so two things happen at the end, right? They obviously escape. He's got his costume on. I thought that was campy. I thought that was.
It was kind of silly where she pops out from underneath it and
her little face pops out. I mean,
he does it because Tala tells him, "Hey, you should probably get in an outfit so you blend in." Well, that's a terrific idea. I think I'll do that. This was the best. Excuse me. Now I've missed this guy. It feels like they cut stuff with them because they were around but didn't do anything. But I think the backseat. Yeah, this is one of the best tense scenes. I loved how it ended up in the tableau with all the people behind her. She has the sword. It's all of them against the one thing. And then the last thing happened that really bothered me.
Fantastic shot here.
That's a great shot. I agree with you. This stuff was really cool and tense. My problem was they didn't set up the Scully and the other person showing up, knowing to show up there with the two, speeders. Again, they have TIE fighters and stuff hanging there. No one launches a pursuit after them. But how the heck did they know they were there? How did they show up in that moment? Even Han Solo knew that Luke was attacking the Death Star and was going to be near the port so that the Millennium Falcon can fly in and surprise us. So you're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home. It was the surprise that the ship arrived. They gave us the surprise that the ship arrived, but didn't set the table for those to be an emotional payoff where it's like, they made it. Wow, it's a surprise. The ships made it there. They just have the ships arrive. And I went, where did they come from? And how did they know to be there just then? And I, for a while, even went, who are those people in those? Because I hadn't seen them since the previous episode. I forgot about them for a minute.
No, they were in the episode.
I know, but I didn't know by their face. I was like, oh, right, those are the people with the okay. Because I haven't
Asian lady and Wade, which were established in that scene. That's why we sat with them for 3 minutes. They were part of the whole game plan.
Right, but I didn't know it was them in the ship right away because they have their goggles on and doing their whole thing. I was like, oh, right, okay, it's them. How do they know to be there?
No. I'm going to disagree with you on that one because talking about details, Obi-Wan said to the Asian lady, we could take your speeders. We could go at night. No, and that's suicide. No, they went back and forth.
Right.
And also, too, it makes sense. The timing, I'll give you that, right?
Yeah.
How do they know? But they were they were probably in the atmosphere because they dropped off Tala and Obi-Wan in their little ship.
Okay.
So, you're right.
But if they hung out, how come they didn't get detected?
Dude, come on, man.
How come no ships were launched after them? I have questions.
Oh my god.
When those two ships came in, I didn't feel they earned the moment. I think you could have fixed it by having
I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is no other stream about Star Wars talking like this. You either got everyone loving it all on the same panel, or everyone
True.
hating it all on the same panel.
Right. No,
So
we're not about that. Yeah.
We're not about that, and we're Tom asking some heavy questions. Well, it's not that they're heavy questions; they're actually like logistical, like
yeah, yeah.
story. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I wish I was. I mean, I love these kinds of stories and stuff. I just feel like, just like a pause in dialogue, you have to earn it. You have to earn those moments. A great action scene builds to an unexpected but inevitable conclusion. This inevitable conclusion was not earned.
Okay, we're coming up on Tom Ass really soon, and we'll do a few minutes with that. Oh wait, you gotta go.
But I got a little bit more time. It's only
okay, all right. God, time flies. Okay.
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Okay, so in the chat. Well, we didn't get to the end.
By the way, let's do the end, because I loved it. I thought it was a great idea.
Two things happened, right? Well, you didn't like the rescue, but two great things happened.
Yeah.
In this at the end, Vader shows up and chokes the shit out of her.
Yeah.
But then releases her.
Yeah.
What do you think of that scene?
I didn't have a problem with it. He comes in.
Just fucking with you.
He comes in and he's disappointed, and she has to argue her point quickly, or I feel like he's going to dispatch her. And then he says, "Okay, I've underestimated you. I'm glad that you did what you did, because you've given us an opportunity. If you weren't going to follow them with the damn TIE fighters, which you should have, at least you've done something that allows me to find him."
So she put the tracker on the droid, on the little droid. I didn't see that she gave the droid back to her.
I didn't either.
I'm like that, but again,
that's kind of a big moment too. But you know what? The editor probably went, well, if we show her giving the thing back, people might expect something's up.
Sure.
So we'll again be vague.
Right, and there's that moment. Well, how were they not detected? Well, I don't know what to tell you. They the fucking rescue. Maybe they dropped out and dropped in from
sure. And then they just were like, I'll bet they're there right now. Let's fly down and find out.
Don't be a jerk. Good scene here.
It's not defended because they didn't expect anybody to shoot at them. This is perfect military strategy. It's like, why did the boat sink? Well, we didn't think anybody'd shoot at it.
And the last moment.
Really cool moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we should mention Wade was killed. Reva she uses her force to explode him, right?
Yeah, but she couldn't get information out from a little kid.
Hey, now wait a minute.
I'm just saying.
Now I need a coffee.
I'm just saying, man. Like you're that badass. You can't even get some information from
you know kid. What? You're right. You raise a good point.
Oh, was I not playing it?
What?
Oh man, I thought I was playing it. It wasn't even in the thing.
There we go.
There we go.
Deflection. They come in. They're shooting everything up. Launch TIE fighters.
Boom.
And she takes them out.
That was good.
Yeah. That was a good use of the Force. Finally.
This is a fantastic scene. This is a beautiful scene.
This is the best scene, actually. You pointed this out, and I agree. The little scene where she puts her little hand on there, and he looks at her and is like, "You were worth me coming out of my shell to."
Well, there's a great shot here, right? Because you got hope and tragedy on from left to right.
Yeah, absolutely. Could use a little more light in that shot, but
always a filmmaker.
I would have hit a little more
light.
You want some HDMI's in there? I want a little edge lighting, some gels, just the way they lit Empire, and I'd be happy. Give me a good old Panavision.
Why did they attack the base? I don't know. That's the first day. Oh, right.
That's funny. Go. Yeah, I love it. Why are they attacking the base? I don't know, man. We never thought they would.
Okay, we have our segment here. Ask Tom.
Bring it on.
I need to make a little
We need a little graphic
a little
package.
graphic, man. Saying
You,
working on
you can
this.
use our guy from the video. Hey, ask
Shoot,
Tom.
getting a little excited here. We're gonna show his comment. That's okay. We'll show it. We'll show it. Okay. Ask. So in
Ask me
your
anything about this.
comment, please put "Ask Tom" first, and then I will read it. I will read
That's
it. There we
awesome.
go. Ask Tom. Okay.
I would love, yeah.
So-
seriously, ask
So,
anything.
give me your best out of 10. Episode 4.
5, 6.
Oh shoot. Okay. All right.
I mean,
Okay. So,
there was lots that I liked, and I agree with you on a lot of things. And I overall want to like it. I'm not interested in putting something down just to put it down. I think that for me,
mhm.
the 3 or 4 things we talked about are honest things that took me a moment to rejoin the story, and I think remove some of the emotion from me.
Okay, we have our first question.
All right. Uh-oh.
Ask Tom, why must we suffer?
We must suffer because through suffering we learn.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, without suffering, joy means nothing.
4 of the 6 episodes now. What's your overall rating with this series, Tom?
I would give it a strong 6.7, 6.5. I'm hesitant to judge something that's not complete. I'm willing to revise my assessment when I see what the writers intended, what the producers intended, everything coming together. I reserve to adjust that significantly.
Okay, I would say so
you?
for me, this episode, I would say a 7.
7? Okay, so we're
Because the
close.
last episode I would feel was like an 8. It was really excellent. This was really good. This was good.
Mm-hmm.
Some parts I had problems with. Some parts I really liked.
Sure.
The series on a whole, I would notch it up a little bit more. Probably a strong 7.
Okay. Well, we're very close then. I was a 6.5. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. So Tree Rock, a -10. Oh,
-10.
Come on.
Oof.
God, that's harsh, man.
That's a.
Yeah.
It happens.
Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Disney hates us. That's why we're made to suffer. See, man. It's a lot in
It's not lost in life. R2.
Okay, we got some real questions. Not a joke question. Ask Tom. You think the fan fallout reaction will result in any changes for future series?
I do. I don't think for the better. I think the anticipatory damage control and often the sort of corporate reaction is going to backfire, unfortunately, because the work should just stand for itself. Before the internet, there were still people that liked something and didn't like something, or passionate, or there's always people naysayers. They couldn't communicate together as well as we can now on the internet. So little ideas and little things spread faster. To me, the job of the artist, the job of the company that makes these things, is to do the best possible job they can to tell a story they feel passionate about telling, they feel needs to be told. That will stand on its own. I think reacting to fallout, course corrections, obviously, if there's something that people really love, you want to amplify it. If there's something that people really hate, look at the reaction and incorporate that into your storytelling. But to go and say, I'm going to manage you before it happens, I'm going to tell you this is good for you and you shouldn't say anything, or we expect the worst and we're going to get it, that always backfires. Because if I were creating a movie and I said, okay, now you're not going to like this thing, but you're wrong, that's already setting up an antagonistic relationship.
Not only are you wrong, but you probably are racist.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not. It's space. What race?
It's never. We're in a world where
it's about race. It's like, I don't care what Tala's race is. Is the character good?
So I would have to agree with you in that. I don't know why creatives, I don't know why actors are so focused and engaging on different levels in social media. They should just be concerned with the work and let the work speak for itself.
Yeah.
And when you're mixing your activism, your
Yep.
social and political agendas with your creative work, you're never going to get the result you want. Maybe
Yep.
from you're going to get from those people who aren't real fans, they're more just activists like, yeah, you tell them. But you're not going to have something that's going to last long,
Yeah. You're right.
and
Again, the work should speak for
I'm
itself.
we've had discussions, and I have discussions with Chris Gore, Robert Meyer, and Tom. I'm all about representation
Yeah.
on an organic level in the story, but it's important, and so we have our disagreements. That's okay,
Yeah,
but
and I'll point out something. I loved, say, the Andor trailer. I didn't love it because it's like, oh, it's a Latin thing. I loved it because I loved it. It's
right.
good.
And I guess what I'm getting at is leave that to people like us. We don't work like I'm working on a series of stories. I'm not going to tell people I'm not going to say, hey, this is an allegory for Black Lives Matter, or this is an allegory for barrio life in the Southwest. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say, here, enjoy it. If not,
Right. Make it mean what you need it to mean.
whatever you take from it, I have no control over that.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
like, and we just proved it right now when we broke down this episode.
Yeah.
Problems you have, I didn't even notice. Problems I have, you didn't notice at first.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know why these creatives are so obsessed with people that aren't agreeing with them.
Right.
And,
Yeah, it's like an obsession. You're right.
and it's an obsession to where they are trying to control and set the default.
Yeah.
Before we've even seen anything.
Yeah.
So
Controlling the narrative reaction is really dangerous when you're a company. Yeah.
Just some other guy. You've been great. Thank you for the super chats today. Let me take that spoilers out. Ask Tom, do you think folks at Lucasfilm realize how volatile the story elements they handle in this series? They tease the death of the Grand Inquisitor and have made no effort to clarify his fate.
That's another great point. They did set that seed. Was that episode 2 that she killed him? I'm not sure. May have been 2. But that's
it wasn't the first.
It's a big beat, though, to kill the Grand Inquisitor when he was in all the trailers and all of that, which made it look like a lot of the footage was just pulled from the first 2 episodes. I wonder, there's an effect that's called the bubble. And the team that made this may not be aware of the story elements. They may be in their own bubble creating this, which is fine. You want to create in your own space. But yeah, the repercussions need to be addressed when you create a great character or you have a character that's in canon that is beloved by people. You don't totally own that. You have to honor that. So I think these volatile story elements are not being handled with the same delicacy that a singular vision or a real creative hand overseeing everything might have. This feels like it's done by a committee of people.
Charlie, ask Tom, I found myself noticing Moises acting in parts, some scenes, like she's not the character. I don't have the vocabulary for what to call it. Is it just me?
That is an interesting question, and I think what you're resonating with is her acting style. There's a certain acting style, particularly from Imperials and villains in Star Wars, and that is a very formalistic, theatrical style. Ian McDiarmid, Julian Glover, all these people where it's like, I'm an Imperial villain, I have a certain thing. She brings a very contemporary vibe, but a somewhat inconsistent vibe. And what I think you're sensing is there's a thing that actors call like being in the moment, like going all in on a performance. And if you're not all in on it, look at what she does with her arms. Look what she does with her body language. If she's not all in, she can go from like taunting to stoic to all these different things being inconsistent because she hasn't dialed in exactly that intensity that you can't take your eyes off a really good villain. Look at Hans Gruber in Die Hard. He's elegant but brutal. He has a certain manner about him that you're riveted by him. He's charming. You like him. I don't think she's embraced the deliciousness of her evil, and I think her acting is not as present. I think she's a good actress, but perhaps she's not getting the direction that she needs, or that she's not going all in on whatever she's playing.
Charlie, I would say that, adding to Tom, is her best scenes seem to be when the setup
Mm-hmm.
are exteriors, and there's a lot of people. They're big shots, big moments. I actually think that she accomplished it. Like, those are,
Yeah,
I think of
fine.
I think the plaza where she cuts off the
Yeah,
you know
fantastic.
and then at the end here, where she takes down that speeder, like, that whole thing. I think physically, like, like, I like what she does. Her intimate scenes are really weak.
Awkward.
It's not
Yeah,
just you, Charlie.
yeah,
And it's exactly what um what Tom is saying, because who do we have compared as far as a new character? It's Indra and her character.
yeah,
She
yeah.
has done it all.
She's
intimate
fantastic.
intimate scenes, action scenes,
Yeah,
scenes of strength, scenes
yeah,
of deception.
yeah.
That is an actor. In
Agreed. And she
and,
made it her own. You
and,
can't
and
imagine
yeah,
anybody. Yeah.
excuse me, I'm sorry. That's an actor that's in her character.
Yes.
Moses is in and out.
Yeah. She's
Unfortunately,
doing.
because
Yeah.
I really liked her in the first episode.
Yeah. I
Um,
wonder sometimes if she realizes she's the bad guy in her story. And I do think she's copying some other people's performances rather than
mhm.
bringing it out. So the
Yep.
vocabulary would be in the moment. An actress needs to be present and in the moment. And if she doesn't have a clear idea, then a director should be guiding her to that moment.
Yeah, especially those interrogation scenes.
Yep.
It's like,
You're right.
wasn't happy with those.
You're right.
Pete DeCant, Denkant, who really liked the show. I think he's given it like a high mark, which I
Right.
really like the show. I just had some problems. Ask Tom, is there anywhere in the OG trilogy that specifies when Obi-Wan and Vader last met?
Yes, there is. When Obi-Wan is talking to Luke and he says, I've not gone by that name since before you were born, and Vader killed your father, that is implying that the last time he saw him was about the time that Luke was born, because he says, that's the last time I saw him. That's the last time I've gone by Obi-Wan, which means that's the clean break. He's no longer in that world. He's no longer around Vader. So the last time they saw him is approximately the age that Luke would be when he's telling that story, saying, a young pupil of mine named Darth Vader betrayed your father. I've not gone by that name in a long time. That would be the moment, in my opinion.
And then two our counter arguments with that is his young pupil should never have been named Vader, which they
That's what I'm saying. It's an inconsistency.
Which they retconned later.
Yeah.
When they gave him the name Anakin.
Yeah.
And number two is that from movie to movie, Obi-Wan even had to do a little extra rewriting when Luke finally confronted him and says, you said that my father,
right, from a certain point of view,
my father. And he's like, well, from a certain point of view, that's horseshit to the New Hope.
Yeah.
That's horseshit.
It was a mistake. Yeah.
It was a mistake. People didn't like that. I remember
they were spackling over that hole there. Yeah.
So this is nothing new,
I'm not saying it isn't. Nothing's perfect. Yeah.
So that question that you asked, Pete, is like, and Tom answers like it specifies
around that time
we know that Obi-Wan has left out a lot of truth to Luke during that time, even as a Jedi ghost, whatever the fuck you call it,
right?
He kept finding out more stuff about his family's past, which I think is kind of cool.
I think it's fine, but to say I haven't gone by the name Obi-Wan since before you were born, the name of the show is Obi-Wan, so he's going by that name.
Yeah, no, and you guys are. It's not that you guys.
No one's wrong here.
No one's wrong here. It's just that what they clearly have done is that it's interpretation.
Right.
And Lucas did that from movie to movie,
Yep.
and these new people are doing that the same.
Everybody does. Yeah.
And you know, I think I'm losing. Sorry, brother. I'm sorry, Tree.
I told you it would be a weird stream today. I did tell you.
Yeah, we did say that, and that's all right. That's all right. I think you guys appreciate our conversations, you know, and we see the same great supporters here every week, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Reva doesn't seem intense enough to me. Other than that, she's cool. Other than that, you know, I actually think she displays a different type of intensity at times, which I love, and I really like. And I really like her scenes with Vader.
Yeah, where she's kind of petulant but like looking for approval. Yeah,
really good.
Yeah,
it's a very dysfunctional
the interrogation scene there was
father-daughter. No, it's a dysfunctional father-daughter, and Obi-Wan and Leia are more functional.
Yeah,
you know, I think
good point.
I think there's something there. This is my favorite stream. Well, thank you. Please make sure you are subscribed to all of us here. Don't think we'll take a couple more and then we'll get out of here. Please don't think I'm being obstinate. Just trying to point out that so far no lore has been broken. I think you know, again, Tom, Pete could actually be totally right. No, like, you know, if you interpret it right, what, you know, like, okay, well, they're calling it Obi-Wan, but that was a long time ago, and sometimes when you're recollecting, I haven't been called that name in years. I haven't been called that name since you were a kid. That's totally doable.
Well, yeah, it's the same as saying I don't remember having a droid. It's like, well, yeah, you did have a droid. Yeah.
I mean, the whole R2 thing is a major.
Thank you.
This is good stuff.
This is good stuff. But that's what mythology is. It evolves.
Yeah. Troy says, I support as best I can. Hopefully this earns me the latitude to disagree respectfully from time to time. Absolutely. You know that, Troy.
It's a TV show. Yeah.
And you know, this channel here is you know, we're pretty open-minded, and we don't. I think that's the thing too, is that if you come from a place where you're just gonna, like, without any objectivity, shit on something that's new,
it's not constructive.
Well, you're not gonna like anything. I honestly have to tell you guys, I saw the first episode of Miss Marvel this morning. I fucking loved it. I might do a review.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It's good.
Know, I thought it was dark. I thought it was adorable. I thought, you know, and this lead actress, I think she's got some. This lead actress can act. She's really got something.
She's good.
And it's you know, they're really showing her family. It's, you know,
that's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, I didn't like Hawkeye. I stopped watching Moon Knight. You know, Moon
Knight was confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to love or hate. I think you know where I'm coming from, Tom. If you come from a place where you're just your setting is, I'm going to criticize, there's going to be stuff that comes up that is actually really, you know, good, and you just be now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You make a great point.
It seems like they made it for the masses. You talking about Obi-Wan? And good to see you, Rogue Disney.
Yes.
Do you think it's easy to watch something that you have no connection to, Paulie? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I would be a liar if I, you know, I think I have to work harder at disconnecting my love of old Star Wars when I watch this new stuff, because, you know, like, even if I just watch one scene from A New Hope, I'm just like, oh man, you know, this is magic.
Yeah, well, that's a great movie. That's why it was so lightning in a bottle. Yeah, the charm, the fun, all of that's what we all gathered around. That's why we love Star Wars. Is for the adventure, the fun, the cool characters, the action. You know, that's what keeps us going.
Steph loves the darkness in Kenobi. That's cool. You're talking about the lighting or his dark attitude?
I think she means like inside him, I assume.
Or yeah, let me know what you mean, Steph, by that.
Yeah, I would love to know what you mean.
But there's some books that I really love. Just to go off of what Rogue Disney says, he asked that I thought were either I had to disconnect any expectations, and it was hard.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, we do gotta wrap up because
Unfortunately, work
Tom's
call.
got to work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go later on and go see Triple R with Chris Gorg.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Again, it'll be my third time in the theater seeing it. Can you put your link in again? Let me see. Do I have it?
Sure. Hang on, what's it?
Yeah. It is a lot of fun. Triple R, I highly recommend it. And we want to thank everyone that's here, that's been here. It's fantastic. You can reach Tom.
Everybody. It was a great discussion. You made incredible points. I love watching this thing with you and talking about it. It's why we love Star Wars.
And we got another super chat. And also here is Trouble is my biz. Trouble is my .biz. That's Tom's movie.
That's my movie.
What can they see? Can they actually see the whole film, or what is it?
Oh yeah, you can see it on my YouTube channel. You can see it on Tubi TV. There's a couple, you can get it on Blu-ray. There's a couple venues where it currently is. You can enjoy it and look for your own problems. Believe me, I see all of them. But hopefully you can enjoy it as a love letter to film noir and that style of storytelling. Trouble is my business was a labor of love because I just love that cinema, the cinema of noir, and I wanted to tell a story in that style set in the 1940s.
Well, check it out. Get over there. Make sure you are following Tom, and we'll be back next week. We do have a couple of got last minute people checking in. Tim's talk. Tim, what did you think of this latest episode? Scale of 1 to 10. I know he's a real Star Wars fan, and we're all fans here, which is great. We're all gonna have passion. And we got another super chat. I really appreciate you, Steph. Stephanie Janishek, Smuggler's Cantina, $4.99. The dark feel of it. How dark and scary it gets. Stormtroopers getting cut in half. Vader goes medieval and the trophy room.
I agree, Stephanie. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you misspelled it?
Yeah. Now it's correct.
Okay, we're going to put in. And then let's get your channel to your YouTube as well. And Stephanie, thank you so much. I got to agree with you. There's some very dark stuff going on there. That's great.
Yeah.
And let's play this for you, my friend. Oh, I know you like puppies and stuff. All right. Well, then, we also have your YouTube page.
Yeah, my channel is Paulie can put it up. Just some other guy. Please take a look. There's a mixed bag of wonderful, strange things on there.
There it is. Nice.
Yep, it's the real deal with Tom Konkle.
All right, Tom. Well, we'll see.
Pleasure, man.
We got 2 more episodes left of this.
I'm curious to see how they wrap it up.
What still needs to be done? What needs to be done on this wrap up?
We need to see the resolution of Kenobi's character to fully emerge to the Jedi Knight that he is going to be now, having gone on the journey. We need to find out how Leia gets back reset to 0 for A New Hope. And we need to see the confrontation between Vader and Kenobi. How is that going to play out? And how does Reva as a character figure into this story? Is it ultimately the story of her redemption? Is it ultimately the story of her reveal as to why she is who she is? Is she going to get a comeuppance? Does she change her ways, or does she die in some horrific way? I think we need to see that in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, my feeling is that I think I think someone is not going to make it.
Yeah.
There needs to be a fight to where that not only does he need, part of Kenobi becoming Kenobi again is that he's got to reshift people's thinking, including Vader's, that Vader
Yeah.
was the learner. And so he
He
needs
still
to
has-
kick his ass. He needs to kick his ass. He needs to put him in a death position again.
He does. There needs to be something that makes sense that it gets reset to where it is, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with.
Yeah, totally. I think we're about done.
Okay. Thanks to everybody in the chat, by the way.
Thank you, everyone. I thought Film Threat was live. Oh, they're live at 1. Oh, they're going to be live right now. Okay.
Perfect.
So go head on over to Film Threat. That's cool. And then I'm going to see Chris Gore live later. Live. We're going to go see a movie together.
That's great. Tell Chris I said hello. The Film Threat's always been really supportive of my own films and things. So
Of course.
terrific. Yeah.
All right, guys. Let me. I'm gonna play the. It's just one of those days. We're gonna go cold. We'll see you soon.
All right.